still shaking, still trying to make sense of what just happened, like my brain is in a fog. But I need to get this out before I talk myself into pretending it wasn't that bad. It was. It was humiliating and cruel. I spent 8 months in a relationship thinking I was loved, only to find out I was just someone's convenience. I never thought I'd be the girl who got played like this, who cooked, cleaned, supported someone, only to be laughed at behind her back. But here I am, sitting alone in my kitchen, stomach in knots, watching the man I thought cared about me sleeping in my bed like nothing happened. We met at this street food festival downtown. My roommate Bridget dragged me out, and I was grumpy. At first, tired from work, not in the mood for crowds, but then I saw him, Tiago. He was working a stand selling pastries from his country. I won't say where, it doesn't matter, but it's in South America, and he had this charming accent, warm eyes, and the most magnetic smile I'd ever seen. We talked while I waited for my order. He slipped an extra pastry in the bag, and when I opened it, his number was written on the napkin. It felt like a scene from a movie. The first few weeks were like a dream. He texted every morning, called every night, made me feel seen in a way I hadn't felt in years. We'd go on long walks, talk about music and culture, and he'd always compliment my laugh, even said it was contagious. He loved that I worked hard and had my own place. He said American girls were independent in a beautiful way. He made me feel proud of myself, safe, chosen. Looking back now, I want to scream at myself, because that man disappeared fast. Within a month, he was spending most nights at my apartment. I didn't mind. I liked the company. He'd sleep in, cook us breakfast sometimes, talk about how hard it was to find stable work on a visa. I believed him. I wanted to be supportive. I never imagined someone could lie so easily while smiling at you across the table. He started, staying full-time but never once offered to help with rent or bills. I paid for everything, utilities, food, even his Metro card, but I brushed it off. I thought, this is just temporary. Things will balance out. Then the comments started, small at first. You swear a lot, babe. Back home, women dress more modestly. You're very loud sometimes. They didn't seem like a big deal then. Just cultural differences, right? Even laughed them off. But the tone shifted over time. It went from teasing to judgment. You wouldn't survive where I'm from. Women know when to be quiet. Or worse, the way he'd flinch when I'd speak passionately about something, like I was embarrassing him just for being myself. Slowly, I stopped talking as much when we were around his friends. He rarely worked, said he was picking up delivery, gigs, but I never saw the money. Meanwhile, I was coming home after 9-hour days at the office to find him gaming on my laptop, asking what was for dinner, and like a fool, I'd cook. I can't believe how long I let that go on. I'd be sweating over a pan while he sat scrolling Instagram, occasionally showing me girls from his country saying, she's famous back home. So elegant. I started wondering if I was being compared. Then I told myself I was being insecure. He loved me, right? One night I finally said something, just a soft, tired, I feel like I'm carrying everything by myself, and he snapped. Accused me of being stingy, of not trusting him, said I was acting like a shopkeeper counting coins instead of a girlfriend. Then he gave me the silent treatment for 2 days, didn't even look at me. I caved. I apologized. Can you believe that? I felt guilty for bringing up rent, for asking for basic respect. That was the moment I should have walked away, but I didn't. I still thought love meant patience. Then came this weekend. He said his parents were visiting from out of town and wanted to meet me. I was nervous, but excited. I spent the whole day cleaning our place, grocery shopping and cooking. I even found a recipe from his culture to impress them. I tried so hard to get everything perfect. I wanted them to like me. I thought it mattered. Before they arrived, he told me to not talk too much and to be polite. I laughed awkwardly, but he didn't. My mother is very traditional, he said. From the moment they walked in, I felt like an outsider in my own home. His parents smiled at me but said almost nothing in English. They spoke to Tiago in their language, non-stop. Even while sitting across from me at the dinner table I had set, he translated maybe 2 sentences the whole night. They're just talking about family stuff, he said. I laughed, nodded, kept trying to participate, but they barely looked at me. I was invisible. Still, I kept smiling. I thought if I just kept being warm, eventually they'd warm up to me too. Halfway through dinner, I realized I forgot cream for the dessert. I told Tiago I'd run to the corner store. He barely looked up from his plate and just nodded. When I came back, the mood had shifted. They went quiet when I walked in. His mom forced a smile. His dad looked away. Tiago said nothing. I tried to shrug it off, but something sat wrong in my chest. That kind of silence, it was heavy, like they had said something they didn't want me to hear. I didn't know then that I was absolutely right. I couldn't stop thinking about it. That weird silence when I walked back in, the way they looked at each other, then at me, like I had interrupted something. I didn't sleep well that night. I tossed and turned while Tiago snored beside me like nothing happened. My brain wouldn't shut off. I kept replaying the dinner, the glances, the tone in their voices, even though I couldn't understand a word. I told myself I was overthinking, that it was probably nothing, but my stomach knew better. My gut was screaming at me, and I didn't know why yet. The next morning, I was in the kitchen making coffee when I saw the small security camera mounted on the shelf. I'd installed it a year ago after a break-in. I almost forgot it was there. It records motion in the living room and kitchen. Suddenly, I remembered I had left for the store around 8:30. They were all still sitting in the living room, talking, and I wasn't there. I stared at the camera for a few seconds before grabbing my phone. I hesitated. This felt like crossing a line, but it was my apartment, my camera, my right. I opened the app and pulled up the footage from the night before. There they were, sitting comfortably in my home, plates of food still on the table, speaking their language. I couldn't understand a thing, but I watched anyway. I watched as his mom gestured toward the kitchen and laughed. I watched as his dad leaned back and said something with a smirk, and I watched as Tiago smiled, laughed, nodded along. No one looked uncomfortable. No one looked like they were saying anything innocent. I had no proof, but my chest tightened, like I already knew. That's when I remembered a service I used for work once, a transcription tool that could translate foreign audio to English. I downloaded the clip and sent it in. My hands were trembling the whole time. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe I thought I'd confirm it was just family gossip. Maybe I hoped I was being paranoid. But deep down, something told me this wasn't just harmless chatter. I had spent the last 8 months ignoring every red flag. This time, I wanted the truth, even if it hurt. An hour later, I got the transcript. I wish I never read it. I wish I could erase those words from my brain. His mother said, "She's not very pretty, but she cleans up after you well." Then she laughed and added, "Well, she knows her place at least." His father replied, "She's like a free housekeeper. Smart choice, son." And Tiago, the man I've fed, housed, loved, he laughed. He said, "She's useful. The apartment is always clean. Food's always ready. American girls are so easy to manipulate. Just make them feel bad for asking anything and they'll give everything." I read that line 5 times. My eyes stung. My face felt hot. My stomach flipped. I couldn't breathe. This man had looked me in the eyes, kissed my forehead every morning, told me he loved me. And all along, he saw me as a convenience, a joke, a free ride. I scrolled down the transcript and it got worse. They talked about my job, called me unambitious, mocked the way I speak, the way I laugh, even made fun of the food I spent all day cooking for them. They tore me apart, piece by piece, over dinner in my own home. And the worst part, he never once defended me. Not one word. Not one, "That's not fair," or "Don't talk about her like that." Nothing. He laughed. He joined in. He let them reduce me to a maid, a joke, a fool. I just sat there, phone in my hand, trying not to scream. I felt like my skin didn't fit anymore. My mind kept flipping through memories. Our first date, the late-night walks, the mornings we shared. All of them now covered in this sick, dirty film. He never saw me. He used me, and I let him. I got up and walked to the bedroom. He was still asleep, peacefully, like nothing had happened. I watched him for a moment, wondering how someone could be so calm after doing something so cruel. I wanted to shake him awake, scream at him, demand an explanation, but I didn't. I turned around and went back to the kitchen. My coffee had gone cold. My hands were still shaking, but my mind was clear for the first time in weeks. I knew what I had to do. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I was done. I started making a list on my phone. His belongings, the bags I'd need, who I'd call for backup if he got aggressive. I wasn't afraid, not anymore. Just done. Emotionally empty but determined. I had allowed this man to take up space in my life, in my home, in my heart. And now he was going to take his things and go. I wasn't his housekeeper. I wasn't his doormat. And I sure as hell wasn't going to be his puppet anymore. Let him laugh about that. Let him explain to his parents why the maid packed his things and kicked him out. I went to the closet and pulled out 2 trash bags. That's how I was going to pack his things. No suitcase, no dignity, just trash bags. It felt right. I grabbed his clothes, the gaming headset he loved more than me, his cologne, his chargers. I didn't fold a thing. I just shoved everything in. My hands moved fast, like I was exorcising something from my home. The memories, the energy, the lies, all of it. He was still asleep when I started, but not for long. I heard him stir, stretch, yawn. Then his voice from the bedroom, still sleepy. "What are you doing, babe?" And I said without turning around, "Just checking emails." He chuckled and headed for the shower. I didn't look at him. I just kept packing. I was in the middle of grabbing his backpack from under the bed when I heard the shower turn off. My chest tightened, but I kept moving. I tossed in the last hoodie he always left on the couch and zipped the bag shut. He came out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, humming some song like it was just another Sunday. When he saw the bags by the door, he froze. "What's going on?" he asked, brows furrowing, voice unsure for the first time in forever. I didn't answer. I just walked. past him and grabbed his sneakers from the closet. He followed me into the living room. "Are you packing my stuff?" His voice cracked, caught between confusion and anger. I finally looked him in the eyes. "I heard everything. I know what you said, what they said." I translated it. His face went pale. All the color drained. At once. I saw it. The moment he realized he couldn't lie his way out of this. He blinked, took a shaky breath, and then did exactly what I expected. He started gaslighting. "Wait, what? You misunderstood. That's not what it meant. It's cultural. You don't get the humor." "No," I cut him off. Calm, cold. I had it professionally translated, word for word. "I know you called me your maid. I know your mom said I wasn't pretty but obedient. I know you said American girls are easy to manipulate. You sat at my table in my home, eating my food while laughing at me." He opened his mouth again, probably to lie more, but nothing came out. Just a soft noise, like air escaping a balloon. Then came the second tactic, rage. He yelled, said I invaded his privacy, that I was a crazy psycho for recording his parents. I laughed. I actually laughed in his face. "You mean the visible security camera that's been there since before I met you?" He looked at it, saw the red light blinking. I think part of him really thought he could bully his way out of this. He stepped closer, too close, and grabbed my wrist hard. His grip wasn't just firm, it hurt. "You don't get to do this," he hissed. "You're overreacting. You don't know how things are back home. You women are too emotional." That was the moment I snapped. I ripped my arm away, shoved him back hard. "You have 10 minutes to get your shit and leave my apartment, or I'm calling the police." My voice didn't shake, not once. He stood there breathing heavy, his chest rising and falling, towel slipping down a little. His jaw clenched. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life," he spat. "You'll regret this. I was the best thing that ever happened to you." I looked him in the eyes and said, "You were a parasite who used me. That's all." He grabbed one of the bags, stomped into the bathroom to get dressed, and slammed the door like a teenager. I stood in the kitchen, the same one where his family laughed about how obedient I was, and waited. He came out fully dressed, bag over his shoulder, still seething. As he walked toward the door, he kicked the little table by the entrance. My keys and mail went flying. "No one else will put up with you," he said. I didn't flinch, just pointed to the door. "Then I guess I'll be happily alone." He walked out, slammed the door so hard a neighbor peeked out. And then, for the first time in weeks, it was silent. Real, full, peaceful silence. I sank to the floor. My whole body was shaking. My wrist throbbed where he'd grabbed me, already turning red. I sat there for a long time, staring at the front door like he might come back, but he didn't. I finally let the tears fall, not because I missed him, but because I felt disgusted. With him, with myself, for ignoring the red flags, for apologizing when he gave me the silent treatment, for cooking for someone who saw me as a convenience, a joke. I cried for the version of me who thought that was love. Then I pulled myself together. I took pictures of my wrist, screenshot the transcript, saved everything to a folder titled Proof on my desktop. I texted my friend Bridget, "Can I crash at yours for a few nights?" She called me within seconds. I told her the short version. She said she was already getting wine and to come over whenever. Before leaving, I called a locksmith. $250 emergency visit. Worth it. By 6 p.m., my locks were changed. Thiago's key was useless now. That gave me more peace than anything else. Bridget greeted me with open arms, pad thai, and a face mask. I collapsed on her couch and showed her everything. The footage, the translation, the texts. She wanted to find him and scream in his face. I told her not to waste the energy. He's not worth it. We deleted every photo, every message, every tag. Erased him piece by piece. That night, I finally slept without waking up in a cold sweat. Her couch was lumpy, and her cat drooled on my blanket, but I felt safe. And for the first time in weeks, I felt proud of myself. The next morning, my phone showed 17 missed calls, 4 texts, all from him. They ranged from angry rants to sad apologies to desperate guilt trips. I blocked him on everything. Phone, WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, every app I could think of. Then I went back to my apartment, changed every password, updated my building manager, and started reclaiming my space. This wasn't just a breakup. It was an exorcism. I wasn't his toy anymore. I was done, and I wasn't going back. Not now, not ever. I didn't expect the aftermath to feel this heavy. The apartment felt like a crime scene. Every corner of it reminded me of him. His mug on the shelf, the beat-up sneakers by the door, the dent he made in the couch cushion from sitting there all day. I spent that Monday in silence, moving like a ghost from room to room, cleaning, rearranging, throwing out the shampoo he liked, the chili sauce only he used, the charger he always stole from my nightstand. I even changed the bed sheets, twice. Nothing felt clean enough. It was like his presence had soaked into the walls. That afternoon, while wiping down the kitchen counters, I remembered the exact spot where his mother laughed at me, where she called me a free housekeeper, and he said I was useful. I froze. My hands trembled so badly I had to sit down. I had replayed that clip in my head so many times, it felt like I'd memorized every cruel word. The laughter, the casual tone, how easy it was for him to agree. I thought I had cried all my tears, but that moment hit different. I hadn't just been betrayed, I had been humiliated, and in my own home. Bridget texted me every hour that day, asking if I needed company, offering to bring tacos. At 7 p.m., she showed up anyway, arms full of Thai takeout and 2 bottles of wine. "I'm not letting you go through this alone," she said. We sat on the floor of my living room, eating spring rolls and scrolling through his old Instagram posts. The captions made me sick. "Lucky man. Grateful for this one. She gets me. All lies. All for show." He wasn't grateful. He was entitled. He wasn't lucky. He was strategic. I was his opportunity, his comfort, his control. He had underestimated me, deeply. He thought I was too nice to push back, too insecure to believe I could walk away. And honestly, for a while, he was right. I wanted so badly to be chosen, to be good enough. I let myself become invisible. I swallowed every silent treatment. I normalized the emotional abuse. I told myself he was stressed, or foreign, or just different. But the truth, he was just mean. Just selfish. There's no culture in the world where cruelty is a virtue. He used his background like a shield, like an excuse to mistreat me. Tuesday morning, I woke up to more messages from unknown numbers. "Please just talk to me. You're ruining everything." We were building something real. I forwarded them to a new folder I'd labeled Legal. Bridget had gently pushed me to consider filing a report about him grabbing my wrist. At first, I brushed it off, but the bruise was still visible, and the memory wouldn't go away. I knew what I had to do. I went to the police station after work. I gave them the details, the photos, the context. They didn't dismiss me. They wrote it all down. That night, I heard from his cousin again, the same one who had messaged me before. She told me Tiago had been staying on someone's couch and talking about how I ruined his life. Apparently, he had told the whole extended family I kicked him out for being too passionate. Said I couldn't handle his strong personality. When she asked him directly about the video, he lied. Said it was a misunderstanding, that I'd twisted everything. But she knew better. She'd seen the transcript. "I just want you to know," she wrote, "not everyone in our family thinks like them." That message made me cry harder than anything else. Because even though I knew Tiago's behavior was on him, I still felt this deep sting of rejection. Like I had been the outsider, the joke, the gullible American girlfriend who didn't know when to shut up. But her words reminded me I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the problem. I had loved someone who saw me as less. And that's not love, that's exploitation. His cousin said Tiago was unraveling, that he had lost his delivery job after showing up late too many times, that his friends were distancing themselves. Karma was doing its job. I started therapy the next day. I found a woman through a local support network who specialized in trauma recovery. Our first session was mostly me crying. Then I told her everything. The gaslighting, the emotional abuse, the cultural manipulation. The moment I knew I had to walk away, she listened, nodded, and said something I'll never forget. Abusers don't always scream. Sometimes they whisper and smile while they chip away at your self-worth. That hit me like a brick. That was exactly it. He didn't hurt me with fists. He used shame, silence, smirks. And now I was done letting him win. By the weekend, I was stronger. Not healed, not over it, but stronger. Bridget and I went to a thrift store, bought some art, and changed the entire vibe of the apartment. She helped me hang a mirror in the hallway, where his coat used to hang. We laughed, for real this time. I posted a picture of my new plants and a caption that said, "Peace is expensive, but I paid in full." A few mutuals liked it. I saw his sister had viewed it too. Good, let them all see. Let them know I didn't disappear. I rebuilt myself, and when he called again, this time from a new number, I didn't even listen to the voicemail. I just blocked it. Then I poured myself a glass of wine, lit a candle, and sat in the quiet. No yelling, no guilt, no one asking what's for dinner while doing nothing to earn it. Just me, whole, healing, finally free. I wasn't his maid. I wasn't his fool. I was never the problem, and I'm not his clown. I chose peace. I didn't text him. I didn't reply. I didn't explain. I just disappeared. After filing the police report and talking to my therapist, something in me shifted. I stopped needing closure. I stopped hoping he'd apologize the right way, because I finally understood. People like him don't apologize. They rewrite, they manipulate, they try to flip the story and paint themselves as the victim. That's what he was doing, showing up at my parents' house, calling from different numbers, spreading lies to his cousin. He was trying to stay in control, even after I walked away, but I wasn't giving him that power anymore. Bridget helped me pack up every last trace of him from my apartment. We boxed up the old photos, his leftover toiletries, the games he downloaded on my laptop. We even found one of his t-shirts in my laundry. He used to wear it to sleep. I didn't cry. I folded it, put it in a bag, and labeled it, "Return to Sender." I texted his cousin, told her she could pick it up if he needed it. She replied, "He won't." That was that. I changed everything. New locks, new bedding, a new password on every account. I even rearranged the living room furniture. I didn't want anything in the same place it was when he was here. I moved the couch to the other wall, swapped the lamp to the opposite corner, took down the canvas print he always said was too girly. This was my space now, mine alone. I wanted to feel that again, and I did, slowly but surely. He kept trying, of course. New Instagram accounts, private emails, messages like, "I miss you," or "Please, just one conversation." But they didn't sting anymore. They didn't shake me. I just read them, rolled my eyes, and blocked. It was like watching someone perform the same tired trick and still thinking it'll impress you. I was over it. The performance, the lies, the drama. I had outgrown his chaos. One afternoon, Bridget and I were having lunch when she paused mid-bite and said, "You look lighter." I didn't know what she meant at first. Then I caught my reflection in the restaurant mirror. She was right. I looked different. I wasn't dragging his weight around anymore. My eyes were clear. My shoulders weren't tense. My smile was real. It hit me. I had been surviving. Now I was starting to thrive. Quietly, gently, but undeniably. Then something unexpected happened. His cousin texted again. Tiago's visa had expired. His delivery job had officially let him go. His parents were pressuring him to return to his home country and he was resisting. But he had no money, no housing, no plan. I didn't feel bad for him. I didn't feel anything. He had gambled with a good woman's love and lost. He'd underestimated me. Now he was dealing with the fallout. That's not karma. That's math. The cousin thanked me for my patience, for not blasting the family, for not embarrassing them. I told her I didn't need to. He was doing that all on his own. She sent a final message. "He used to talk like you were his property. I'm glad you reminded him you're not." That night, I sat on my balcony with a cup of tea, watching the city lights blink like little promises. I thought about the girl I had been just months ago, the girl who apologized for asking for fairness, the girl who thought love meant giving and never asking for anything in return. She was gone. I loved her, but I outgrew her. I'm not his clown. I'm not his maid. I'm not his therapist, his visa sponsor, or his emotional punching bag. I'm the woman who got even without ever raising her voice. I'm the woman who walked away and never looked back. It took a few weeks to truly feel like myself again, but one morning, I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about him in days. My apartment was finally clean in a different way, not just wiped down surfaces, but emotionally clean. His energy was gone, his presence erased. I didn't feel tense walking into the kitchen anymore. I didn't brace myself before opening the fridge, half expecting to find one of his overpriced protein drinks taking up space. I didn't dread coming home. I actually looked forward to it. It was mine, fully mine. Work became a safe zone. My coworkers rallied around me in quiet, subtle ways. Ron, the security guard, gave me a little nod every morning like, "I got you." Alexis left me a Starbucks gift card with a sticky note that just said, "Strong women deserve coffee." And Marcus started sitting by me at lunch more often. He never brought it up, never asked for details. He just offered a space where I didn't have to perform strength, just be. I started writing again. Nothing big, just journal entries, some short stories, little bits of emotion I didn't want to bottle up. My therapist said it was a good sign, processing instead of avoiding. She said people heal in layers. I liked that, made sense. Some days I still felt angry, other days just numb, but underneath it all, I could feel peace starting to grow, slowly, quietly, like a flower cracking through concrete. Then one weekend, Bridget and I went to that same food festival where I met him. I hesitated at first, not wanting to open old wounds. But she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're not going to avoid places just because he once stood in them." She was right. So I went, and I was okay. Actually, more than okay. I tried a new dish, bought a cute necklace from a vendor, even danced a little to the street band playing by the fountain. And guess what? I didn't even flinch. Not once. That night, I lay in bed and thought, healing isn't loud. It's not always fireworks or grand declarations. Sometimes it's just walking through a place that used to hurt and feeling nothing. That's power. Around that same time, I got a message from his cousin. He left, flew home 2 days ago. I think it's really over now. I read it 3 times before responding. Good. I hope he learns something, but I'm not waiting around to see if he does. The day after that, I took myself out to dinner. No occasion, no date, just me. I ordered my favorite wine, brought a book, and sat by the window. A couple at the next table was arguing quietly. The woman looked exhausted. I caught her eye for a second and gave a small smile. She smiled back, and something passed between us. That unspoken sisterhood of women who've been through it, who've chosen themselves. When the waiter brought my check, he said someone had paid for my glass of wine. I looked around but didn't recognize anyone. Then I noticed the note folded beneath the receipt. To the woman who sits alone and still looks powerful. Keep going. That was the moment I knew. I wasn't surviving anymore. I was rising. A few months later, I saw him again. It was unexpected. I was walking through the city market with a coworker on a Saturday morning, just picking up flowers and fresh bread for the week, when I looked up, and there he was, Tiago, standing by, a small cart selling empanadas, wearing the same jacket I once bought for him on sale. His face looked thinner, older somehow, and when his eyes met mine, he froze like he'd seen a ghost. He didn't move, just stared. I didn't say a word. I didn't walk over. I didn't flinch or pause or speed up. I simply kept walking, head high, posture calm, a sunflower bouquet in one hand and freedom in the other. He tried to follow me with his gaze, but I could tell something had shifted. Whatever power he once had, gone. Later that afternoon, I got a message from his cousin. He saw you today, said you looked different. I just replied, I am. But it didn't end there. 2 weeks after that, I got an envelope in the mail with no return address. Inside was a handwritten letter from him, 4 pages long. Apologies, regret, claims of self-reflection, promises of therapy. He said he didn't expect me to forgive him, but hoped I'd remember the good times. I was scared of how strong you were becoming, he wrote. That's why I tried to tear you down. I read it once, then I folded it, slipped it back into the envelope, and slid it straight into the shredder, because that strength he feared, it's mine now, and I don't hand it out to people who never deserved it. A week later, Bridget and I were at our favorite bar when she pointed out a guy staring at me from across the room. He's cute, she said. You should go say hi. I laughed, not because I planned to, but because, for the first time in a long time, I realized I could, if I wanted. I'm not in a rush to love again. I'm still learning to love the version of me that came out of all this. The woman who no longer apologizes for taking up space. The one who doesn't wait around for someone else to see her worth. Because I see it now, every day. In the way I protect my peace. In the way I walk past ghosts without flinching. In the way I no longer translate cruelty into love. I used to wonder what closure would feel like, if it would come in some grand final moment, like an apology that finally felt honest, or a confrontation where I got the last word. I thought maybe I needed to see him cry, or beg, or admit everything, just to make the pain feel worth it. But closure came quietly, not in one dramatic scene, but in a dozen small ones. It came the day I deleted our last photo together without hesitating. It came when I replaced the frying pan he used to complain about with one I chose myself. It came when my therapist looked me in the eye and said, "You didn't imagine it. It was real, and it was wrong." It came when I laughed again, a full laugh, loud and unfiltered, the kind he used to roll his eyes at, and it felt like exhaling a version of myself I didn't need anymore. He underestimated me. He thought I'd fall apart without him, that I'd break in half when he took his love away. But all he really did was free me. I rebuilt myself from the ashes he left behind. Stronger, smarter, softer in some places, sharper in others. I'm not his housekeeper. I'm not his project. I'm not his clown. And I'm certainly not the fragile girl who used to cry behind the bathroom door. I'm the woman who walked away. I chose peace. I chose myself. So if you're reading this, and you've ever felt like someone made you small, like they dimmed your light just enough so you wouldn't notice it going out, I hope you know this. You were never the problem, and you don't owe them your silence. Watch me thrive.